Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 10.
We begin with some breaking news tonight. Firefighters in Lincoln rescuing 2 animals. Here you can see them rushing a dog out of a house. They perform life-saving measures. No word yet if the dog survived. A cat appeared to be okay. You can see that right there. The fire broke out in a home near South 61st and Rosebud Circle. That's just north of Old Cheney in southeast Lincoln. The owners were not home at the time. No word yet on the cause, but firefighters say there is major smoke damage throughout the home. Well, right now, funding is on the rocks for a Nebraska opioid program. The Nebraska Hospital Association saying funding for one of their programs is terminated. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Rod Fowler.
And I'm Sophia Pullman. That money disappearing right in the middle of the program's year-long application. Channel 8's Darsha Dodge spoke to the Nebraska Hospital Association on the impact the loss may have on Nebraskans. Darsha?
Yeah, Sophia, the Hospital Association telling me that money came out of a block grant of American Rescue Plan Act funding. Now, it was supposed to last through September, but cutting the funding means both Nebraska hospitals and patients are getting hit. Nebraska healthcare providers reeling after a major funding loss. Federal funding for an opioid reduction program gone in the middle of the award year. That money aimed at helping hospitals statewide work with patients.
These drugs, if they're not prescribed appropriately, managed appropriately, they are very addictive, and often, the intensity of the drug, needs to go up to meet your addiction.
Their program was testing a new model for care, including aftercare nurses to assist patients long after their procedures.
It means that, thousands of Nebraskans that we were going to work with after their procedures in our hospitals aren't going to get the support they need to make sure they can deal with their pain in a way that doesn't involve opioids.
Nordquist adds medical providers can warn patients of the dangers when they're discharged. But without proper follow-ups, managing pain long-term, especially once doctors stop prescribing said drugs, can turn patients towards other substances.
If your doctor isn't going to prescribe it to you anymore, you look for alternative sources, and that's where we start to see people running into those, heroin, synthetic fentanyls that, certainly can be deadly.
So far, a dozen states filing against the federal government, challenging the cancellation of that funding. Nordquist saying he's hoping for a swift resolution so their work can continue. Reporting in Lincoln, Darsha Dodge, Channel 8 News.
Thank you, Darsha. Right now, authorities working to find out the cause of this crash. You can see it here in this video from our Now Local News app. This rollover happening near Northwest 48th and Highway 34, right by the Kowalski plant. We first brought you this breaking story at 5. Authorities say the driver had a trailer with a skid steer attached to it. The crash also ended up crashing into a light pole. Thankfully, authorities say no one was injured. And now for a look at your Friday night first forecast. Let's take a live look out from our Barry Law camera. A rainy and dreary end to the week, but it certainly is rain that we need. The big question is, how long is the rain going to stick around? Let's head over to meteorologist Houston Hall.
Yeah, we did see some rain today. Woke up and I saw some wet roads, which that was good. Much needed rain fell in Nebraska today. We really needed that rain, but it's not going to be sticking around much longer. Temperatures will warm up as we go into next week. But here's a look at a big old stationary front, which is bringing lots of life-threatening flooding, some tornado warnings, and once again, that's just stretching from about Illinois all the way to North Texas. And we do have a few scattered showers, which could make their way towards the east as we go into the next hour, but some of it looks to dissipate. We'll be lucky to see a few little sprinkles here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. Today's high temperatures felt a little chilly, 52 here in Lincoln, 53 in Omaha, and then 30s and 40s for about everyone else. Hey, out there right now, doesn't look too bad. Looks a little chilly in some spots. 33 in Broken Bow, North Platte, Ogallala. 48 here in Lincoln, but check out these winds out of the north, bringing us cooler air, about 20 to 25 miles per hour. gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be a chilly one, but as we go into tomorrow, those winds will stick around, and we're only going to be getting to the lower 50s under mostly sunny skies. We'll talk about this wind and possible rain chances next week in a few.
All right, thank you, Houston. Talk to you later. President Trump's tariff sparking the worst weekly meltdown on Wall Street since 2020. For the second day in a row, the shell-shocked markets bracing for how the economy will respond to the tariffs. Stocks nosediving today, all three major indexes dropping around 6%. The Dow plummeting 2,231 points, NASDAQ falling 963 points, and the S&P 500 closing down 322. It comes after China stoked trade war fears, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell warned of higher inflation and slower growth.
It is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
Trump on social media today pressuring the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, accusing Powell of, quote, playing politics. The administration vows the disruption will be temporary and worth it. J.P. Morgan's chief economist today increased the risk of the U.S. of falling into a recession to 60% by the end of the year. And tonight, China responding to President Trump.
It's slapping a 34% tariff on the U.S. This as Trump saying his policies will never change and now is, quote, a great time to get rich. ABC's Melissa Aiden has the latest.
The first phase of President Trump's new 10% global tariffs will take effect at midnight, impacting all foreign goods coming into the U.S. Trump vowing to up those duties for countries he described as bad actors starting Wednesday. This as stocks fell sharply yet again. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all falling more than 5% today. Investors pulling back amid uncertainty around trade relations. Trump, however, standing firm, posting on social media, only the weak will fail. Secretary of State Marco Rubio shaking off concerns.
I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing. Markets are crashing because markets are based on the stock value of companies who today are embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States.
China fighting back by slapping a 34% tariff on U.S. imports. The tariffs will likely impact consumers and businesses across the country. In Kansas City, Laura Norris says 90% of the liquor and wine sold at her restaurant is imported from Europe.
Restaurants don't have big margins of profit, so this is going to be difficult for a lot of us to stomach.
The impact also to be felt by farmers like Tony Thompson in Elkhart, Iowa, who's concerned about fertilizer prices.
So putting tariffs on that, like when margins are already tight, we're increasing the stress on us as growers.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell warning higher tariffs are likely to increase inflation. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Right now, an increase in scam reports putting law enforcement on alert. Lancaster County Sheriff's Office saying the scams they're being made aware of are coming in all kinds of different forms. The big question being, is there a reason behind the uptick? Channel 8's Jake Homan spoke to a local IT company tonight. Jake, what have you learned?
Yeah, Rod, Sophia, according to local law enforcement, they're seeing an uptick in these trends lately. And tonight, we dive into what exactly these officials are seeing, but also why. A surge in cyberware crime in Lincoln. Both Lancaster County Sheriff's Office and Lincoln Police reporting of multiple scam alerts. On April 1st, LSO first reporting of a scam alert text going out asking if you've driven through a toll recently while fishing for your money and personal info. Then on Friday, Lincoln Police Technical Investigations Unit also reporting of an uptick in Facebook Marketplace scams. The victim will communicate with the seller, usually through Messenger, about buying an item. The seller then requests half down to hold the item and will want the money sent through a payment app. The ad is usually taken down a short time later. Soren Group, an IT service company, says doesn't necessarily feel there's an increase, just that it's being talked about more, especially with more people online.
When they get caught doing one thing, they start doing more and different. And there's, we're just so much more online compared to what we were 10 years ago even. And even with shopping online, that has increased so much more. So there is a lot more potential.
Authorities say they've had more than a dozen reports in just the past 2 weeks. And in the past year, Lancaster Sheriff's Office says over $250,000 were stolen from scams alone.
Don't really feel that there's more out there. There's always been scams and phishing out there. My inbox, my personal email inbox, I've had it for 15 years, and I could easily go through and probably give you 10 to 20 a day of phishing attempts, and that hasn't changed.
Now, LPD actually offers areas, designated areas for these transactions you make online. In fact, let me direct you to it right here. It's called a swap spot. There's 2 parking spots here at the Lincoln Police Station on northeast the substation off of North 27th and Holdridge. You can access these parking spots between the hours of 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. to complete those transactions safely and also here in public. For now, reporting live here in Lincoln, Jay Coleman, Channel 8 News.
All right, thank you, Jake. Lincoln police tonight on the hunt for a man wanted for theft after breaking into a gas station. It happened at Murphy Express, north of 84th and Adams. Police say surveillance footage shows a man in his 20s or 30s stealing around $600 worth of products around 1:30 a.m. A shattered front door set off alarms. That's when police arrived. If you have any information on this crime, you are urged to contact police. Also developing, a Lincoln man in jail after a gruesome discovery last month. 25-year-old Elias Starr is accused of being responsible for a deceased dog found in a trash bag in Pioneers Park.
During an interview with law enforcement, police learned Starr had surrendered his other dog to the Capitol Humane Society in early March. On Thursday, April 3rd, Starr was arrested and taken to the Lancaster County Jail for animal cruelty, which is a Class 4 felony.
Dog's cause of death is being determined as starvation.
And some new developments on a law that would spell the end for the app TikTok. President Trump delaying the deadline for 75 days. Last year, former President Joe Biden signed a law enforcing the app's parent company to sell it. The law was set to go into effect in January, but Trump delayed it. This move coming just ahead of Trump's first deadline set for tomorrow. Still to come tonight at 10.
A storm surge across the Midwest and South. Hear how millions are being affected by a deadly weather system moving through the U.S. Coming up after the break. Houston?
Yeah, we saw some rain today, some much needed rain, and we could see a little bit of that going into tonight and then some warmer temperatures next week. I'll talk about this forecast in a few.
Developing now, actor and comedian Russell Brand facing some serious charges tonight. The 18-month investigation includes several allegations from 1999 to 2005.
He's been charged with 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of sexual assault, and 1 count of indecent assault. The Metropolitan Police in the UK have charged comedian Russell Brand with 2 counts of rape and multiple counts of sexual assault. These charges stem from 4 different women over the course of 6 years between 1999 and 2005. The allegations only came to light after an investigation done by Channel 4 in the UK in 2023. Over the past 18 months or so, investigators in the UK have been looking into these allegations against Brand before officially charging him today. For his part, the comedian has not said anything in relation to these specific charges, but we do know that back in 2023, after that investigation came out, he did deny any wrongdoing. It is known there are other allegations against Brand outside of these specific charges. Investigators have made a point to say that this is an ongoing investigation. Authorities are asking anyone with more information to come public. They add they have a team of investigators dedicated specifically to this case.
Also developing now, a deadly multi-day weather event plaguing parts of the Midwest and South with relentless rains and tornadoes. In Selmer, Tennessee, which is east of Memphis, a powerful EF3 tornado with winds of up to 160 miles per hour, leaving behind a path of destruction. Homes reduced to piles of rubble. Roads in Nashville looking more like rivers. Businesses and homes in the area left flooded. Crews working to rescue anyone trapped by the floodwaters.
This is a multi-day severe storm that has already produced tornadoes, heavy rains, flooding across the state, hail.
Saying at least 8 people have died in the severe storm so far.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with meteorologist Houston Hall.
The weather the past few days have been quite wild, and here's a look at satellite and radar right now. We just have this long stationary front. Stationary front is just where kind of just sits there for quite a while and does not move, and that's why there's going to be life-threatening flooding. Those green boxes are flash flood warnings, and there is some flash flood emergencies out there for parts of Missouri, and that's going to continue to move slowly but surely off towards the east, but that's for about 4 to 5 states, and there is some tornado warnings within that. Hey, let's take a look here. We do have some scattered rain showers trying to make their way towards the east, move into our area. We did see a little bit of rainfall this morning, so this could add a few hundredths, if it makes it towards the east just a little through tonight. And here's what we're watching, a chilly and windy Saturday, so we're going to have some north winds, which will cool our temperatures down by a few degrees. But hey, a pleasant Sunday. Winds look to calm down, sunshine looks to be out, and then we could see some more rain chances next week. Hey, let's take a look at Stormcast. So some of that rain, it is going to make it towards the east. And then as we wake up tomorrow morning, plenty of sunshine out there and no precipitation, but lots of sunshine and lots of wind for tomorrow. So if you have any plans tomorrow, it's going to be a little chilly. If you have a kite, it's going to be a perfect day to fly your kite. And well, let's check out the kite forecast. So we're going to have these north winds right now. They're gusting about 30 to 40 miles per hour as we go into tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We've got a line of north wind stretching from O'Neill southeast, about 35 to 40 miles per hour. And then as we go through your afternoon, they look to calm down slowly but surely as we go into tomorrow night. So about the morning time through about 3 p.m., winds will be gusting about 25 to 40 miles per hour. Hey, here's a look at our Barry Law cam. Doesn't look too bad. It's a little chilly, especially off towards the west, where we're seeing lower 30s. No upper 20s yet, but we are at 48 degrees. 46 down in Hebron and 47 in Omaha. So really not too bad off towards the southeast, but this cold air will move its way slowly but surely off towards the east. And that's where we're seeing that rainfall. And we are having these north winds, 20 to 25 miles per hour. That's just the winds. Wind gust about 40 miles per hour, and that's slowly going to move as we go into tonight. So 30 degrees for tonight. It is going to be blustery with those north winds bringing us a lot colder air, and everyone's going to be in the 20s and 30s, a little warmer down towards our southeast. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. It's going to be windy. North wind 10 to 25 miles per hour. If you have a kite, Perfect day to do that. Upper 40s, lower 50s for tomorrow and our 7-day. Let's see, is there any rain chances on there? Well, there's some warming temperatures. And then as the temperatures start to warm up, that's when we start to get our rain chances. A little more moisture will move in next week where we could have some storms possible on Wednesday. But other than that, it looks to be a little chilly until about next Tuesday and Wednesday where we get a warm up.
Thanks, Houston. New at 10, Lincolnites gathering to make their voices heard. Today, a novel idea bookstore hosted its Write Your Reps event. It serves as a way to encourage voters to learn about current issues in the U.S. and share their opinions with senators and representatives.
The intent is to encourage people to engage in their government and to learn a little bit about how to communicate their opinions and ideas. So we're having people come and write postcards and letters to their Nebraska state senators and their congressional representatives. This is an event that's open to all, nonpartisan. It's all about civic engagement in our community.
The bookstore provided postcards, note cards, and pens for voters to write their letters.
Well, look who's here. Coming up, we have the Sports Zone.
Nate, the Husker basketball team got a new piece this year. Tell me about it.
Yeah, big new piece for this upcoming season. Bryce Sanford, this guy's electric from deep. He's coming from Iowa, so that's going to be interesting when he returns home next season, but we're sure glad to have him. We'll have more on Bryce and much more coming your way next in the Sports Zone. See you there.
Now, from the Channel 8 Sports Zone, sponsored by Greens Furnace and Plumbing, here's Channel 8 News Sports with Sports Director Nate Johnson. The Channel 8 News Sports Zone.
Well, hey, what's going on? Welcome into the Sports Zone. Happy Friday. The weekend is almost here. What a way to rein in for Nebraska basketball. They bring the 2025 Top 100 portal recruit. Incoming junior Bryce Sanford is a marksman from behind the arc in his sophomore season. The game and shot the three at 40%. If he were a Husker last season, that would have marked #1 in the percentages from deep. Bryce also, just in general, a great shooter, knocking down nearly 50% of his field goals. So just a huge get for Nebraska for next season, especially as you start to look to replace a lot of production on the offensive end. You know, both Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary ending their seasons right now out in Las Vegas. We've been following, of course, the Crown Basketball Tournament, and those two were just 2 of 4 players who shot the 3-ball at least 30%. The other two being Connor Sejan, who led the team at 37%, and Sam Hoiberg. I usually look at some of Price's stats from last season. Pretty good numbers from the sophomore, playing 22 minutes a game in the Big Ten. Of course, the Huskers will be back on the hardwood Saturday in their semifinal match against Boise State in the College Basketball Crown Tournament. Tip-off set for 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Nebraska and Boise State playing for a chance at that title game in Las Vegas. All right, well, taking the mound with the Huskers softball and baseball teams today. Softball out in Iowa taking on the Hawkeyes. The baseball team playing right here in Lincoln taking on the Rutgers in a 3-game series for both of them. Nebraska, they gave up 2 runs in the first inning, but bounced back in the bottom of the first, putting up a 5 spot. Rutgers fought back to make it 5-5 after 2 played, and Nebraska pulling away, scoring in the 5th and 8th innings. Dylan Carey had himself a night, going 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. The Huskers putting up 13 hits in the game tonight. Nebraska wins game 1 of this 3-game series against the Scarlet Knights, 8-5. First pitch tomorrow is set for 2 p.m. Over in Iowa City, the Lady Huskers, there's no other way to put it, they destroyed the Hawkeyes in game 1 of their 3-game series out there, courtesy of guess who? Jordy Ball. Grand slam for her in the top of the 2nd inning. You can see it right here. Get up, get out of here, gone. 5 innings pitched for her, no runs on the board. The Huskers take care of business. The final of the night, 12-0. Nebraska taking down Iowa there in just 5 innings. Game 2 is set for 2 p.m. tomorrow. And over in the show tonight, former Husker Spencer Schwallenbach had a dandy of an outing in the Atlanta Braves home opener. Not only did Schwallenbach help give Atlanta their first win of the season, he threw 8 scoreless innings, only giving up 2 hits. What a night for the former Husker. And let's just keep things going. While we're talking MLB, let's just stay with the MLB. Baltimore Orioles in Kansas City taking on the Royals. This game was a fun one. Back and forth. Salvi double out there. Ball hard to track in that tough weather. That one's going to drop, and Kansas City would get on the board first. Royals, they would make a game of this, come back and fight back. The final, though, tonight, 8-2, Kansas City getting a big win at home. Finally, the Lincoln Stars were hitting up the ice up in Madison, Wisconsin, somewhere I know a little bit about, taking on the Capitals. Madison drawing first blood, going up 1-0, but after that, I mean, it was all Lincoln all of the way. Etienne Lassard, lefty Mark Ladonis, and Jack Pachar all scoring tonight for Lincoln. The Stars, what a show for them. Leading the way, Jan Shostak, who stopped 23 shots tonight. The final 3-1. Lincoln gets a big win in Madison, and they got 3 games left now of the regular season. And one more home game on April 11th. So looking forward to that one. That is going to do it for Sports Tonight. Rod Field, go ahead and send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Nate. We will be right back with a final check of your forecast.
Well, tomorrow looks to be windy and chilly. We're going to have some north winds, 10 to 20 miles per hour. We look to warm up going into Sunday. That looks to be a nice day. Winds calm down and lots of sunshine. Then Monday going into Tuesday, we warm up 50s and 60s. Do have late rain chance on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday storms are possible as temperatures raise into the 70s. And then, well, starting next weekend, we could start to see some spring-like temperatures. We're talking lower 80s with lots of sunshine. So overall, the forecast does not look too bad. Just a little chilly tomorrow, and then things look to ramp up from there.
Have you guys noticed how green the grass has gotten? You know, a little bit of rain. It's very pretty.
I need to go outside this weekend and enjoy some of that because it's just been dusty and gray.
Yeah, it'll do you some good.
Thanks, Houston, and thank you for joining us.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
I have not noticed how.
In a world full of uncertainty, are you prepared?